It's Comic-Con time. Hello everyone, welcome back to another video where today we're going to be going over my experience at Wales Comic-Con Telford, which yes, sounds like an oxymoron, but it's where they host Wales Comic-Con. Don't ask me, bit bizarre, but yeah, we're going to be going over all the guests I met, all the stuff that happened, and all the merch I bought. But before we get into it, if you could do me a teeny tiny little favour and click that subscribe button, that would be very much appreciated. We are trying to get to 20,000 subscribers by the end of the year, and we're about 20 odd subscribers away from 18,000, so if we could get there, that would be very much appreciated. I also have a Twitter and an Instagram if you'd like to follow those, the link will be in the description below. I posted my Comic-Con pictures there first, but with that said, let's get into the video. So yes, I feel like we all know how these work by now. I went to a Comic-Con. Luckily in terms of travel, if you watched my previous video, it was pretty smooth sailing because I got a family member to drive me up, which made it a lot easier. And I arrived at the Comic-Con just past 11, probably like half past. And before we even get to the stories of how I met each individual, I just gotta say, Wales Comic-Con for me, in my personal opinion, I've done a few of these conventions now, is the best when it comes to disabled accessibility of all of them. They have accessibility queues, which means you're not queuing nowhere near as long. The flow of people in general, because the building is bigger and it's more well organised, is just way better. And it's just a much more chilled experience than London was by contrast. So yeah, huge shout outs to them for starters. Before I even went for my photo ops, I saw some pretty cool things. Mainly, they just had a full-on police box out on display, as well as a guy that was selling pictures in front of his own DeLorean. And naturally, I also love Back to the Future, so I got my picture next to the DeLorean. So yes, I encountered 2 time machines that day, so feel free to let me know in the comments below which one you prefer. Type either TARDIS or DeLorean. Personally, my money's on the TARDIS. I mean, it's like literally infinite. You could just park in Cardiff to recharge it, and it can go through space as well as time. Although I'll give it this, from the outside the DeLorean probably does look cooler. I also encountered Johnny 5 from the movie Short Circuit, which was really cool. As well as an encounter with R2-D2 from Star Wars. And you can see in the video there, I was with Liam. Huge shout out to both Liam and Mike. They were kind of the friends that I hung out with across the day. They were absolutely legends, very helpful. I also bought them chicken, so I feel like we're even. But yeah, huge shout outs to those guys. Absolutely fantastic. You were both great. I'm sure you're watching this now. And then prior to the photo ops, we had a little bit of a, scurry around the stalls. Now, there weren't too many Doctor Who stalls, or at least not as many as some other conventions I've been to. But, of course, me being me, I did manage to pick up some stuff. Mainly, this space pic from Series 1 episode Aliens of London. Yeah, I didn't have this guy before now, so I thought, why not? As well as this big fella, the face of Bo, goes without saying, is in multiple episodes across the RTD era. But I know what you come to these videos for. You come for the stories about how I met these people. So we headed over to the studios where all the photos were taking place. The first one I had was Peter Davison at around 2 o'clock. So we queued up, scanned our QR codes, got given a little token to indicate which photo we were going for, waited in the accessibility line until our names were called, and then, hey presto, here is my picture with Peter Davison. This is probably one of my favourite pictures I took at the event. It just sort of looks like a photo with like me and my granddad or something. It looks like a family picture that doesn't even look that out of place on like a mantelpiece or something. It's so weird to me. But yeah, it's one of my favourite pictures I took. Peter Davison was also very lovely in the brief time I got to speak to him. He was also wearing his like famous Panama hat that the 5th Doctor wore. I did hear that he was doing costume shoots, but I didn't see him in full costume, only the hat. But to be honest, that was fine, as he still looked like the 5th Doctor to me. And the great thing about Wales Comic Con for accessibility lines is once you've gone in for one picture, they just let you go around again if you've got more. So next up, I think after that was Janet Fielding. And Janet was absolutely lovely, very full of energy, very perky, and she was in her centenary costume. That's right, she was wearing her full-on centenary costume from Power of the Doctor, which I just thought, the effort was really, really commendable. Like, the shoes, the jeans, the big jacket, all of it was exactly the same. Hats off to Janet for just wearing that for the pictures. She didn't have to do it, she didn't charge extra for it. It was just a thing that she did, which I think was just really cool. And then the process repeats again for, I think, Gemma Redgrave was next. Gemma Redgrave again, lovely. I made a joke on Twitter saying that I ran unit now as a result of this picture. So yeah, If you want any aliens dealt with, I'm the guy to ask now. And then Sophie Aldred. Now, obviously, you guys know, I've spoken to Sophie Aldred before. Obviously, I didn't have a chance to bring that up to her, but she was lovely. What was funny was they were doing the duo photos with Sylvester McCoy and individual Sylvester McCoy photos at the same time they were doing the Sophie Aldred photos. So basically, there was people in line for Sophie and people in line for Sylv. So they kind of just kept moving back and forth, like doing musical chairs. It's quite funny to watch. But yeah, Sophie was really nice, exactly as you'd expect. Very energetic, very fun. And then finally, probably the biggest star at this event, Christopher Eccleston. Now, a big reason why I booked tickets for this was because Christopher Eccleston doesn't do as many events as some of the other ones. So I was like, oh yes, I've got to meet Christopher Eccleston. And it was weird because the way they do photo ops is they put you into groups. So Group A, Group B, Group C. And Group A was at like 11:30 a.m. And then Group B and C were at like 4:30, although I think they were running slightly behind. So yeah, there was a huge gap for my Christopher Eccleston picture. But once I was in the queue and met the man himself, he was an absolute sweetheart and a gentleman. I wasn't sure what to expect. I knew he was a nice guy, but he's a guy who's known for speaking his mind and being very, honest. So I was worried, going in like, oh, is he going to tear me apart? But no, he was absolutely wonderful. Before I actually went up, there was a lady who was struggling to get in and out the photo booth, and he helped walk her down off of the photo booth and made sure to shake absolutely everyone's hand. And he complimented my driving skills in the chair, as well as the jacket that I was wearing at the time, which was obviously in an ode to Christopher Eccleston. I was cosplaying the Ninth Doctor. And yeah, he was absolutely like a gentleman and an absolutely wonderful guy. He was probably like the most genuine guy I think like I've ever met at one of these conventions. Loveliest man on earth. I'll be honest, I'm not as big of a fan of this picture as I am some of the others. Not because of Chris, but because of me, to be honest. I just don't like the way I'm posed in that picture. But nonetheless, it was really cool to meet him. And yeah, shout outs to Chris for being a legend. And yeah, that pretty much concludes my final Comic-Con trip of the year, and probably my final one for a while, at least for a few months. I've had extreme amounts of fun going to all these conventions, and they wouldn't be possible without you lot. And speaking of you lot, thank you to the people who did come up to me again. Obviously, I'm still not used to it, but thank you so much. It really does mean a lot. It makes my day when it happens. You're all legends. Hope you all had a fantastic day if you were there. Also, one thing I forgot to mention is that I didn't get any autographs this time. I was planning on it, but getting all the pictures was my priority, so I didn't quite manage to get any photo. And to be fair, I'm running out of space on my walls, so it probably was for the best. Also, in case you're wondering, I don't know why one side of my shirt is like higher up than the other. It is just how the shirt looks. One of my arms is like higher up than the other, so you're seeing more of like my main arm. So in case anyone was like, why does this shirt look like that? That's the reason. And yeah, thank you all for watching. Like the video if you enjoyed, subscribe if you're new, and I'll see you later.